getting people back into an environment they never thought they would be able to get back into, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is about being in the outdoors? Like, that's part of our whole mission here is the camaraderie, the healing power of the outdoors. What do you think it is about that makes it so special?
It's just nature. Like on my walk this morning, I like to take pictures of trees.
Yes.
Because to me, tree is the personification of life and death. They start out as a little sapling struggling to find their little gap of sunlight and moisture, and they get to grow these tall trees, and they fight through droughts and torrential rains and fires and everything else to grow, and then they finally get to that point where they die, and they just sit out there in all their majesty until one day the wind takes them down and it starts all over again. So it's the cycle of life. It's just you can look into the forest and see the full cycle of life.
Yeah.
And how it all blends in together and how it all supports each other, and it depends on each other for each one of those different cycles to succeed. So, I mean, what more perfect view, analogy, or symbol of life do you want than what's right in front of you?
My name is Warren Perry. I'm a 28-year veteran of the United States Army. I retired in 2014. I live in Bow, New Hampshire. I'm married and I have 3 grown children. My pursuit is to help veterans any way that I possibly can. I had an extensive career in the military. I was commissioned from the University of Maine in 1986 as an armor officer. I served on tanks and I served for 28 years. I deployed with the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment to Desert Storm, and then I deployed to Iraq in 2008 as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom, where I led some teams to help secure the Iranian-Iraqi border in southern Iraq. I led about 6 or 7 smaller teams that were deployed around the province of Basra, and during that tour, I lost 1 man. I first became acquainted with House in the Woods through one of my friends here in New Hampshire. He was volunteering up there, and I thought it was interesting that he would go up there. He was not a veteran himself, and he would go up there and volunteer to help the veterans at House in the Woods. And about a year later, I had an opportunity to go on a trip, and I called my friend back and said, "Hey, tell me about this guy, Paul House. I think that's who you were talking about." And he said, "It's going to change your life." And it did. I went on a nice fishing trip with them, and then I decided to help and volunteer anyway that I could. I first went kind of as a chaperone staff officer for another organization that the House in the Woods had partnered with, and what I found is just being with the veterans, and some that have some demons and they need to heal, and some that are just thriving and doing okay. But what I found is it's extremely rewarding to me. I get a real sense of purpose for me to be able to just be there and listen and be a peer, be a kind listening ear to some of the other veterans. And I tell Angie and Paul and Dee, I get way more out of it than I give. And I've been associated with other organizations that help veterans, and they're all wonderful. They all do great things for veterans, but they didn't fit for me like House in the Woods fit for me. I think it's because it's genuine and nothing is forced. It is a great organization.
So my name is Jay Penske. I'm a Navy veteran, retired chief. I was introduced to House in the Woods by a fellow Marine friend of mine named Mark Oliva with NSSF. He brought me up along with another friend of ours from another Marine. Last year we came up here and hunted bears with Paul House and his House in the Woods program. Learned all about Paul and his wife and their loss of their son Joel in Iraq a few years ago. Both myself and Mike and Mark all did our time overseas. We understand what kind of a sacrifice that is. And we thought it was remarkable that Paul and his family were able to turn such a tragedy into something so helpful to veterans like myself and everybody else that comes up here. Because of our love for hunting, it was very easy for us to come up here and relate A, to veterans, and B, to Paul and his family. And the opportunity to hunt bears is terrific. So we didn't get to see a bear last year. Some people did. Some people did kill a bear. We didn't get to see one, but that really wasn't the point. The point was meeting veterans, meeting Paul, hearing the story, seeing all the great things that they do. And it reminds me every day that no matter what happens in my life, I have 2 choices. I can choose to be miserable, or I can choose to find the positive in it and do something good, not only for myself, but for those around me, because that's what Paul's done. And I remember that every day, and I use it every day of my life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Much appreciated.
Of course.
Our appreciation to you is bringing our veterans, our heroes, here to Maine on these bear hunts. And to us, you're like brothers to us and sisters. So when we receive a gift like this, it's very heartfelt. It's sometimes hard to put in words what it means. And especially when I saw the engraving of our son, that meant even more. And I can't thank you personally enough to take the initiation to make this happen, because that's special. It's not just something you can go buy in a store. And to me, it's worth more than if somebody wrote a check out for $1 million. Because I know that you're doing it from the heart, because you want to do it.
Yeah,
and you're giving back.
Thank you.
You're giving back. And that's what it's about, right? I'm not a veteran. You are. And all the veterans here, you know what it's like. That camaraderie, that brotherhood. But I feel through the loss of my son, I have that. And instantly, I do bond with veterans. That's why we do what we do. We're here to help each other.
What do you wish that people would get out of sitting in the woods when they're out there by themselves?
Peace of mind. Just know there's more to life than all the worries that are pushed on us.
My name is Christopher Frazier. I served in the Maine Army National Guard from 2004 to 2015. I got medically retired. In 2006, I was a Purple Heart vet. I got blown up in a LMTV, which is about the size of a dump truck. The two gentlemen with me who were also Maine guys got killed. That was Staff Sergeant Dale Kelly and then Staff Sergeant David Paverka. And I was the only one to survive. And I've been dealing my own way through my own therapy through things. I became aware of House in the Woods because I was introduced to the fact that if you're a Purple Heart vet, you're allowed to get a free Maine moose hunt. And they actually got me in this year. The gentleman donated his tag back to them, and they took me up for a week up to Echo Lake, and it was phenomenal. Good outdoor nature therapy. You get back in, zoned in with the nature. It's a beautiful thing. What they do for the veteran community is outstanding. A lot of guys or girls, service people, don't understand all the help that is out there, and they go above and beyond more than anyone I've ever met. And it's a phenomenal feeling to be appreciative of what your service was meant to them. To be able to connect with the people, like-minded people, same military mindset. You may never serve, but if you have that mindset, you will always have that mindset. House in the Woods benefits any veteran with PTSD because all vets that get together, it doesn't matter if you serve in the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever, Navy. Like I said, it's like-minded individuals. And the people with PTSD seem to click better with nature. It's phenomenal. It just puts you back to your roots, almost like emotional support. It's phenomenal. They were very welcoming, they were non-judgmental, and they had deep sympathy for everything I've been through and every other veteran's been through.
This is a stress reliever. I think it's one of the big things. And it gets your mind at ease where you can actually think, clear your head. It's like dumping everything in a dumpster. You get a little bit of trash of this, a little trash of that, you get trash from all over. Pretty soon it's just overwhelming. And then it's like you empty that dumpster and you can start fresh again. And I think people that work jobs every day or whatever they're doing, they need to clear their minds just by coming out in the woods. And once a month or once a week, just come out and sit or go for a walk or go by a stream, watch the sunset, watch the sunrise. There's just so many variables. You don't have to think about anything and look at God's creation. Even though we see weeds and bushes, and there's a purpose for every one of them. They're here for a reason. Enjoy the moment. And don't try to make something that isn't. Just be real about yourself and people around you. And then you want to take that experience. It's free to anybody that wants to enjoy it.
Medium?
All right.
Well, I was an engineer, and I was in Afghanistan. I went in as a heavy equipment operator, as a vertical construction back home. That was my career. So I wanted to be able to do both. Well, you get thrown into being an engineer. I became a combat engineer because I like explosives. And then, so when I went to Afghanistan, you were everything from a plumber to a 50 cal gunner. You know, it was quite an experience. Got to fly around a lot, help out the infantry as far as accommodations and fixing whatever, or building new OPs, you know, for these guys. That was back in 2009. Then I took a heck of a fall and got medevaced out a little bit early. So, I'm retired out now, and this was an experience of a lifetime, really, and I've had a blast.
We still have all your fingers.
I have all my fingers and toes. I never jumped in for a turtle. I think that's why. But you know, it could happen down the road. I don't leave till Sunday, so this was wild. I reeled in a gator, and it was awesome.
So I was in 1136 Transportation Army, and because of my previous jobs on the outside, I did quite a bit of truck driving, but everything from your fuel trucks to transporting heavy equipment to, so they put me in supply in the Army, so that's
Okay.
pretty much what I
Well, thank you for your service.
I had a fantastic time. This has just been unbelievable. It was phenomenal. It just was fantastic. And good thing Jeff and Paul hooked on to me, because I'd have probably fed the gators. It was, yeah, it's just unbelievable. And then,
How was it with the nuisance?
Yeah.
oh, that was a different ball game altogether, you know.
And just all the hospitality and the bantering and the camaraderie around here, that has just been exactly what I needed, and I think a lot of other guys as well. It's not just about the kill; it's about being together. So, like-minded people and having fun, and having a lot of laughs. We got a lot of laughs, so I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to thank Townsend and Sons for a fantastic time. Calvin and Daniel, married. Jed and the whole crew. I mean, it's an experience of a lifetime. Being welcome as family is so important. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. What an experience to come to a place like this, and the hospitality is just phenomenal. And what you guys do here is amazing. We're like family now, and that's so important in all our lives, to have that relationship. And yeah, thank you, Calvin, Mary, Daniel, and Jeb, for going above and beyond what you had to do to make us feel at home, comfortable. You just made us feel incredible inside and outside, and can't thank you enough. And you're always welcome up in Maine. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts and for what you've done and continue to do.
So my name is Aaron Irvin. I'm from Pompano Beach, Florida. So I was a Black Hawk helicopter crew chief in the Army. I was over in Iraq. It was 04, 05 for that. So I really, really, really appreciate the opportunity you guys had for us today, or this week, here at the camp. It was a pretty amazing experience for me. So, you know, again, I think I can say thank you enough, and it's something I'll definitely remember for the rest of my life. So, thanks again, and I really appreciate it.
I am Cody Krepling. I am about to get married in August. I got baby number 4 on the way, so I'll have 4 kids at the beginning of July. I served 13 and a half years in the Army, 3 deployments, 2 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. Came home, medically retired, and then I fought with the loss of sense of purpose in life. Struggled with finding a meaning in life, attempted suicide 4 times, and I'm glad I survived so I can now use my story to help others find healing through the outdoors. So I had no clue about House in the Woods until Angie gave me a call and said, "Hey, I know you're a veteran. I have this retreat. Would you want to do it?" I wanted to keep isolating myself until she reached out and said, "Hey, this might do you good. What do you think?" My first initial thought is I don't deserve it because someone else out there deserves it more than me. But with helping Angie with the sturgeon retreat, it helped me heal as well, knowing and seeing and talking with the veterans that did the retreat. They found a sense of purpose, a little bit of relaxation. The camaraderie that was built through the guys for the 3.5 days was what some of them truly needed, because it kind of is an eye-opener that, hey, I don't have to sit in my house. When you leave a retreat, you leave with a sense of accomplishment, a sense of I'm not alone in the fight that I'm fighting. As a veteran, we all think that our fellow comrades aren't dealing with the same stuff we are, which is not true at all. But also, the stigmatism of mental health in the military has gotten way better. But in your OIF and earlier vets, it was so ingrained in us that you don't seek mental health treatment, you don't talk about it. So that is the hard part that we struggle with. You know, at the retreat, I tell my story. I go in depth with the guys to kind of give them an eye-opener that it's okay to talk about it. Even with helping Angie facilitate it, I didn't only see the degree of healing through myself. I know we saved a couple.
How bad did he get bit?
You know, you all know that he's got a hole. That round hole is in there, that deep hole.
Yeah.
And TV people who live there, hey, about 3:30 or 4 in the morning, everybody's home besides Troy and him, and they had killed that thing with a bang skill.
Thanks to Jeb, I mean, it was as funny as it was fun, so I had a really good time.
Phenomenal. And like Tony said, yesterday was just tremendous. It was like the whole trip was just fantastic. Thank you very much.
Definitely be coming back here, definitely be coming back.
I think she got one.
Oh my gosh! I'm not touching it, but
That's
it's really
a good
cool.
one.
What just happened?
I got a fish.
Kirby.
Oh my gosh!
How does it feel?
Oh, there's a lot of 4-letter words.
It's slimy.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh! To the face. Yeah, all right, you gotta come out in.
I can't.
You go all right?
All right,
Keep breathing.
keep coming out. That's pretty neat.
Good.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, now get another one.
And I'm drilling holes. Congratulations. That's awesome.
She's having a miserable time.
Hi, my name's Chris Frazier. I'm a Purple Heart combat wounded veteran. I was contacted by House in the Woods if I would be interested in doing a Purple Heart moose hunt. And I was extremely excited. Paul House, Mike Thurlow, and his son Ty, and Angie were amazing. I couldn't ask for a better experience. Nothing would have made me happier. Excuse me, as I was. Let me back up. I could not have asked for a better experience. We put in a lot of hours, put in a lot of miles. We were up every morning at 2:15 and then get back to the house till about 6:30, 6:37. Put in probably 300 miles on back road trails. So we put the legwork in. They went above and beyond. House of Woods is an amazing.
Hi, I'm Reginald Reed, live in Phippsburg, Maine. I was in the Vietnam era, served in the Maine Army National Guard from October 8th, 1970 to October 8th, 1978. House in the Woods, I drove by Paul House's house, and then I see that he was building a facility off the Skunk Hill Road. Naturally, it was of great interest. So I kind of watched it from a distance as the facility became a facility from the ground up. And I have a camp not far from there. And then it wasn't until after the facility was done and I worked for the state, Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, in the safety division, and we started doing some safety programs. So the safety programs took me to House in the Woods, and naturally I had an opportunity to meet Paul and Dee and the other folks there at House in the Woods, and realized just how important the facility was to people, and then was asked, being a registered Maine Master Guide, if I'd like to help guide some of the veterans. So for the past 2 years, I've helped with the spring turkey hunts. I just can't say enough about House in the Woods and how the facility makes you feel in a sense that you belong. It is a home away from home. It is an opportunity to share if they care to share, and if they care to leave their troubles behind. It's opportunities that they've never had. The experiences that I've had an opportunity to be part of has changed my thinking, in that I want to do more for House in the Woods and the people, and the facility certainly is one of those facilities that allows people to share and to experience new adventures.
House in the Woods, amazing thing. Every vet should try to contribute, to meet, get to talk about your feelings. I know that doesn't feel good always, boys and girls, but it's necessary to get it off your chest, because if you don't, it's going to consume you. So to reach out, get back in touch with nature, remember your trigger discipline, and be able to put down an animal, it's an amazing feeling. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I am Cody Kreplin, a volunteer with House in the Woods. What brought me to House in the Woods is Paul's motto, "We heal together." I did 2 tours in Iraq, 1 Afghanistan. I got medically retired in 2015. From 2015 till 2019, I struggled mentally. I attempted suicide 4 times. It wasn't until I put myself fishing on the Wolf River for 2 months straight and found healing within myself through the outdoors that I'm able to be where I'm at today and help fellow veterans heal their invisible wounds through outdoor retreats and learning more about how the outdoors heals a person.
I'm Cody Moore. I'm from Bront, Texas. Joined the service in 2009. I did 2 deployments, 1 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. I was wounded in Afghanistan, and that was kind of how I got introduced to Paul House with House in the Woods. I've never been to Maine, and tell you a little bit about it. They called me and they said, "Hey, we got a moose hunt," and I think it was in about 2 weeks to get loaded up and go up there. They asked me if I would love to go on a moose hunt, and I said, "I will do everything in my power to get up to Maine in 2 weeks." It sounded like a great getaway. You got the fall colors up there in Maine. That's something I've never seen before. So we made it happen. The people were extremely nice up there in Maine, including everybody with House in the Woods. They made every accommodation that they could for me. There was a few people I'd met that had been in the service prior to me that I was able to talk to, but just the way that everybody interacted with me on that, you know, it was like everybody I met up there was somebody I've known my whole life. You know, we all enjoyed hunting. We all enjoyed being out in the woods, getting our minds off the day-to-day life. It got my mind away from everything that bothered me. It let me relax and forget things for a little bit. Overall, the deal with House in the Woods is I met some people that they've given up almost everything in order to be able to reach out to veterans like myself. And they give opportunities to veterans that veterans otherwise would have no chance of ever doing. I would have never gotten a chance to go to Maine. I would have never had a chance to get out in the woods of Maine if they had not set that up for me. You really can't say enough good things about House in the Woods. You really can't. It is a top-notch facility. It's a top-notch nonprofit organization that goes above and beyond what I've ever seen with some of the things I've been involved in.
The motto for House in the Woods is we heal together, because it's not, one person can't stop everything that's going on with the veterans and mental health and everything else. We have to do it as a team. And that is why we don't just have them come to the retreats and they're forgotten about. Periodically, we check in on them. If they need resources, we have the resources to give them to further their mental health treatment and how they want to be treated. Through the outdoors still today, I find myself healing more and more every time. For the Sturgeon retreat that House in the Woods hosted in Wisconsin, we had one individual, I saw myself in him back in 2017, 2016. He came into the retreat Thursday night. Friday afternoon, he told me, "Thank you for saving my life." That morning, Tuesday morning, he was thinking about committing suicide. And everyone thinks if we have a wife and kids, we have purpose in life. As a veteran, we don't have a full sense of purpose even just with that in our life. We're always looking to better the greater community, the world. We're always looking for the next big thing for an adrenaline rush. That is part of why healing through the outdoors works so well. To this day, it saved me another 3-4 times. We lose that sense of purpose, but we have to learn how to regain that sense of purpose back. And healing through the outdoors is a great way to do it, because there's nothing else that heals you like the outdoors does.
Well, Brent, we want to thank you for setting this up and for all collaborating with us and setting the blinds up and giving Chris, one of our veterans, the opportunity to have us not one bird but 2 birds in one shot. It was phenomenal. Saw deer, birds. It was just the whole atmosphere. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was
setting
an
this
honor.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was excellent. I appreciate it.
No problem, buddy.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Much less fun than this. It's awesome.
Excellent. My kind of day.
First of all, I just want to say thank you from House in the Woods, from Paul and Dee and everyone here and everyone all across the country. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. Everything that you've given, it's very important, obviously, to everyone. We appreciate you. I didn't know you guys before this week, but it was nice to get to know you guys a little bit, to share this experience together, and just thank you.
I'm David, Coach Mansky, from Kimberly, Texas.
All right.
I'm Aaron Lyle. I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
And what organizations brought you here?
Hunting with Heroes,
Veteran Predators, Patriots.
Whether or not you harvested a bear, what was your favorite part about being here?
My favorite part was probably the Lobster Fest, the all-you-can-eat lobster.
Yep. Staple to Maine here. And for myself, too, I'd never been to a lobster fest before, so that was super unique. Did you like the lobster?
The lobster was excellent. Yes. I had 4 of them.
Good. Did you know how to crack it open? I had to get some guidance on that when we were eating.
Yeah, that wasn't my first rodeo.
Oh, all right. What about you? What was your favorite part about being here?
I think just coming up here and the whole experience, I really enjoyed meeting the guides, meeting some of the other veterans, and of course meeting Turbo, the bear tracking dog.
I know.
It was just a great experience overall, meeting some new folks and the camaraderie you feel when you were in the military. And, you kind of lose that once you get out and do your 9 to 5 day job, 9 to 5 job or whatever. And, it's just good to link back up with some veterans. Even if they are Marines.
Did you connect with some new guys that you might stay in touch with?
Dave.
When you go home?
Yeah.
You know.
The program is great. I mean, what Paul's doing here is amazing, and I hope it grows and progresses.
Yes. Yeah.
And I totally recommend this to anybody. Any vet that wants to link back up with nature and meet up with some other vets and have an opportunity to maybe see a bear or shoot a bear.
Yeah, or a lynx or a squirrel or a bird.
Rabbit. I never did shoot that squirrel.
Darn it! Yeah.
I understand that if I shot, it'd be a bear. So
The bucket list items change as the week goes on. Never mind, I'm just going for the squirrel.
Well, physically, we're going home without a bear. I think we're coming back full with meeting some great folks.
Yep. And likely another opportunity in the future. To come back here.
I would definitely come back. If I got invited back, I'd come
good.
back in a heartbeat.
Good. That's excellent. Well, thank you again. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's a house in the woods, built on kindness and love, a place where you can do no wrong. Well, this house is a family who will suffer beside you, give you strength when you can't carry on. Oh, you deserve to feel good, so come to the house in the
I thought Al was doing the other side.
Al is.
I'll have to look at the words, but I don't remember them all.
There's tons of organizations out there helping veterans. I heard about this one through a gentleman I actually met last year. He told me about this, and I was just, man, this has been a bucket list of mine to go on a bear hunting. And the way the house that came together was touching to me, that they've actually lost a son in combat, and it's healing to be here. It has been just fantastic. No drama, just a good common bond with veterans, and I would just encourage anybody that can take advantage of this to definitely do it, and, for your own healing.
You're in here making casserole,
Well, yeah, and that's my way of giving back too. Besides talking to veterans and they're telling you some of their story, which they don't always tell. I met a gentleman earlier this week that he had a story. It was like, there's help for you. A lot of veterans get help, and they can't move past that part, because it's not about, oh, I'm getting help, I'm service connected, I got a paycheck. There's help out there to be received. If it's through the VA, great, they have the resources to do it. But so do us fellow veterans to be able to help all.
Honestly, that's a huge part of it, is you therapy each other when you're here, which sometimes is the little window that someone lets someone in and you guys help each other to see, what the possibilities are. So thank you for your service, and thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
My name is Dee House. I am a co-founder of House in the Woods with my ex-husband, Paul. We started this in about 2010 after my youngest son, Joel, was killed in Iraq by a roadside bomb. Paul is a registered Maine master guide and wanted to do something to help veterans and Gold Star families in active duty military to heal from loss and from things they had experienced. And so he went to what he knew how to do, and he went to the woods. Joel loved the outdoors so much, and he did a lot of hunting and fishing with his father. And so the first thing is that carries on the mission that way. And I remember it was the day of Joel's funeral in the afternoon. Some of his Army buddies had come from Fort Hood, Texas to be here at the funeral. And up until that time, I had really just looked at the grief inside me and not really thought about anybody else's pain. We were kayaking with a couple of his buddies, and I just heard this very clear voice from Joel saying, "Take care of my buddy's mom." Well, at that time, I just thought he meant that the men that were with me in the kayak. But as the years passed on, that voice really was speaking to me, that not just the buddies that Joel knew personally, but the people in the military that he had served along with, that it was my role to take care of them. We try to help everybody we can. When you come to the lodge, they feel a connection with the building. And I just say that that's because so many people, they love veterans, they want to help. They want to be part of the answer in these veterans' lives that helps make their life better. They want to say thank you to veterans. And we are a local organization. We're buying things from our local vendors and employing our local people. So we are helping the communities that we serve in.
My name is Stephanie Willett, and I am the surviving sister of Corporal Michael Willett, who was killed in Afghanistan in 2009. I became associated with House in the Woods when I had the opportunity this past winter to go up and join them on an ice fishing trip. I grew up in the inner city. I know nothing about ice fishing. You would never have had me drive 4 hours north into Maine and truck out into the middle of nowhere with a bunch of people I have never met in my life to ice fish. That's not something I ever would have done. But that is absolutely something that my brother would have done. He was a big outdoorsman. He loved to go fishing. And so when the opportunity through House in the Woods came up to spend some time with some veterans and go ice fishing, I was like, let's do it. Let's try it out. And it was probably the most fun I have had in forever. Those people were so friendly and so amazing and so wonderful and welcoming. And they took the time to teach me how to fish and laugh with me when I made an idiot out of myself, and show me the eagles flying in the sky and teach me the different type of fish. And I met Paul and Dee House, and they told me about their son, Sergeant Joel House. And I understood a lot of what they have been through since they lost their son, as I am also a military surviving family. And the things that they have done, the beautiful silver lining that they have created in House in the Woods, and the gift that they give is just the most beautiful way to honor their son. They're offering outdoor programs that bring together, mostly small groups of either veterans or active military or surviving families or a mixture of both. And they bring you together in this really cool environment where it's not forced, but there's this beautiful environment where you are allowed to bond, create relationships, get to know each other. Thank you seems too small, but thank you is a good starting point, right? So you gave me the gift of letting go and just enjoying myself. You gave me the gift of breathing freer. There were no expectations. There was no pressure. There was, come sit on the ice and just be. And that is not something that I experience often.
My name is Joe Wessner. I served 13 years in the Army as an infantryman, deployed to Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan multiple times. I was medically retired in 2014 due to some injuries I received in combat. Hunting, fishing, outdoors was always something I loved to do. After I got injured, I was told I'd probably not get to do that again, so I used it as my motivation to get back out. I heard about House in the Woods actually through a mutual contact I knew who had done a bear hunt up there. I just reached out to House in the Woods and, what do I have to do to apply? And Paul actually replied back to me pretty quickly. He asked me a couple questions, and within an hour or so, he's like, I have a spot for you, come up. When I first got there, I was honestly blown away with the lodge, with just the people, how friendly everybody was. You didn't know anyone first walk in, and they're treating you like they're family. Being in the woods, hunting, that's an added bonus because it wasn't about bear hunt itself. It was about the camaraderie that you were there with like-minded veterans, even civilians that they might not understand what you went through, but they listen. They're there for you. They will do whatever they need. It's just such a healing aspect of it. So I have an organization I started. It's called Ultimate Veteran Adventures, and we actually travel around the country sending vets on hunting, fishing, outdoor trips. When I went up as a veteran to House in the Woods, talked to Paul a little bit, and we talked about my organization that I run, UVA, and he said, I want you to send vets up through your organization to us. We've been sending 4 veterans every year for the last 2 or 3 years now to Paul and House in the Woods, and we also do a fishing trip with them in Oswego, New York. There are tons of organizations out there, and actually House in the Woods works with multiple organizations. They're just amazing people. They're doing an amazing job. If you have the opportunity and you're looking for a great place to send your money and donate money, time, anything, what they do for veterans, what they do with other organizations to reach out to help more veterans, it's an unbelievable experience.
Hi, my name is Larry Hagens. I was in the U.S. Navy for 6 years as an electronics technician on board submarines. So it was quite the fun activity during the late 80s, early 90s when we were still in the Cold War. So I became aware of House in the Woods through a Facebook application that was actually talking about a sturgeon spearing event on Lake Winnebago in Wisconsin. So I actually signed up for it, being a vet, not even knowing anything about House in the Woods. I really didn't have any preconceptions regarding the retreat. I thought this would be a good event, being a veteran, knowing that when any of the veterans get together, there's always that camaraderie between veterans. Well, we met at the hotel initially before we went over for a supper. And being a veteran, anytime you're around other veterans, it's always easy to start a conversation and always work into friendships. Oh, we had a lot of fun. That Friday, we went out and actually cut in the sturgeon shanties, which is where you take a chainsaw and you cut through approximately 1.5 to 2 feet of ice, which is the same size as the hole in the shanty that you're sitting in. You push that chunk of ice underneath the shanty, and then you slide your shanty over it to get prepped for the next day, where you're actually waiting for one of these prehistoric fish to swim through underneath you in the hopes of being able to get a chance to spear it. It's hugely important to be together with other veterans because they may not have necessarily gone through what you've gone through, but they've had their own other experiences in the military that the civilian population just doesn't understand. And having another fellow veteran there to discuss your issues with is one of the best reliefs you can do to get some of that stuff out in the air, cope with it. It's a huge coping mechanism. It's a lot of good memories. I've actually friended quite a few of these people on Facebook, and I remain friends with them, and we've chatted throughout our time away from being out on the lake. And I'll carry those memories for an indefinite period of time. And, I'm still connected with some of these guys on Facebook. I just wanted to throw a shout out there to Mr. Paul House. He's done a wonderful job setting up this organization to remember his son and then ultimately to work with the veterans and also not forget the Gold Star families as well.
I'm Gene Trish. I was in the Army. I was in the Combat Engineers, and I was stationed at Camp Castle, which was close to Bearcat in the Mekong Delta. The House in the Woods I was invited to go out ice fishing this last winter. It created good memories. I met Mike Thurlow, a true gentleman, and he invited me to go out fishing with him, and then learned about a sturgeon spearing ice fishing retreat in Wisconsin, and the House in the Woods needed quality spears. My father made spears when I was young, so I offered to make 5 spears for our fellow veterans. Paul House and Angie Gade just picked up the spears and took them to Wisconsin. And at last, I was invited to go on a fishing retreat in Lake Ontario. I went and I had a wonderful time with my fellow veterans. New memories were made. The worst part of the war is bad memories. But when I heard the singing of the downrigger cables, that brought back heartfelt memories, and that alone made the retreat very special. New memories helps heal the war memories, and that is what's so special about House in the Woods. It's hard to explain, all the nightmares I've had, from Vietnam, but it's nice to think about nice things for a change. It's really a special place. Paul House lost his son in the war, and it's so special to take and see veterans there enjoying themselves and enjoying each other's company, and healing is a major part of getting rid of war memories. But anyway, it's a very, very special place. They bend over backwards for us.